Hey, there we go. It looked kind of dark, but now it looks great. Alrighty. I am going to try to create a card. YouTube Live. This is a test version because what I see is backwards. So just like flip this in your head, but what you're going to see will be fine. Now that says there's someone watching me. Can't imagine who that might be. I wished I knew. If you're watching, please comment. This is supposed to be private. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and make a card. I have 3 card kits left here. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. And looks like I'm in a pretty good spot. Move that over some. I'm not sure I'm really happy. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, so today I'm using Circle Sayings. This stamp set is in the new annual catalog, and it is the nicest stamp set. For those who don't have a lot, don't want a lot, the sentiments in it are very useful. Happy birthday, thank you, thinking of you, sending you a smile today because you're awesome, or a warm hello. And I love, we've used this waves and sun. Today we're using these lovely flowers. No, we're not. We're using the circle. Celebrate, celebrate. Celebrate, celebrate. So for my card class, I provided them a piece of cardstock and a suggestion of how to stamp so there was room to punch out the circle, and then we're going to fussy cut the cupcake. So I thought since I already had this one stamped that I would go ahead and use it in one of these cards. Cool thing about this, the punch is 2 3/8 inch circle punch. This is a super huge, gigantic punch. It is in the new annual catalog, I believe, or an online exclusive. I should have looked before I started. It's one you're going to want. I like punches because they're very easy to keep in your. You don't have to have a lot of equipment. A punch, and you're good to go. So I am going to color the cupcake liner with this one. We did not use a separate piece of designer series paper, and I'm using light azure afternoon, or azure. I think it's azure. I love that word. It's a blue, as you can tell. The card base for this card is bubble bath. Bubble bath, pink. So if you've got a little fussy girl in your life, this is the card for her. I will post a list of my supplies that I have used to make this cute little card. So if it's something that you would like to make and you want the list, you could totally sub out colors. You wouldn't have to necessarily do it exactly like mine. If you don't have bubble bath pink, there are lots of other pinks available. How about if I use the brush in? I'm going to color the frosting. Guess what? Light bubble bath. And the designer series paper that I've used on here, you can use just about any color, any design. I would recommend kind of keeping it a little subtle so the cupcake is the center of attention on this one. I'm just kind of highlighting, kind of making that cupcake not quite all solid. And you know how when you're frosting cupcakes, sometimes you don't get right down next to the actual cake. They kept saying, why do you have brown in here? I'm like, because that's the top of the cupcake. This was light crumb cake. I think we used the bronze for that one. And this is just fussy cut. And what fussy cut means is scissors. You get to do the cutting. There's not a die or a punch for this. But you know what? It doesn't take very long. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just give it a little cut. I always like to leave just a little bit of white around the edge. That's just a personal preference for me. I think the design sticks out a little better if it's not. Oops. See, I got a little carried away there and cut that really close. And we're going to mount that cute little cupcake on a couple of dimensionals. And I say a couple because it's a little bit large for just one. You could stick it in the middle, but then your edges will kind of be overhanging. And you can put it on here however you wish. I hope that wasn't my computer telling me it needed to be plugged in. All right, so let's put the card together. Kind of started in the middle and I'm working my way out. So our card base is cut 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and folded. And in their little card kit, they had a liner piece, which is cut 4 by 5 1/4. And then for the front, we had a white panel that is cut 3.5 by 4 3/4. And that's what I'm going to use to mount my piece of designer series paper on. Well, first I'm going to mount my piece of Pretty Peacock, and it's cut 3 1/8 square. And then my piece of designer series paper is cut 3 by 3 square. And I'm going to put that on first on the Pretty Peacock. Come on. Getting close to the end of the roll on this Stampin' Seal, and they give me fits when they get down this close. I do a lot of fighting with it, and I don't really like that, but it's my personal problem. So because there's only 1/8 of an inch, you're just going to have a very small border, but it's just enough to kind of pop. And we're going to mount this with kind of an equal mat side to side and across the top. So you've got the same amount of white showing. And let me go ahead and stamp the happy birthday before I put it on the card. Usually I don't mess up, but I kind of recommend that you do that. And I'm going to do it down towards the bottom right corner because I have another piece of designer series paper, and this paper is bright and beautiful. It actually, I don't have a catalog in here, is with the balloons with that bundle. But it's so useful for others. And this piece is mounted, what did I do with it? Right here on dimensionals. And remember, whenever you're cutting your flag, to kind of go in the middle, cut it up. That's a little more than 1/4 of an inch. Go from the corner to where your slit stops, and then go from this corner and meet it, and you have a flag. And then do it on the other side. We do have punches that will cut these, but invariably my piece of paper doesn't fit the punch. It's too wide or too narrow, or it's almost just as quick. All right, let's use some of the edge pieces to mount this, and do it this direction. So I'm going to lay, I could have gone ahead and stuck that down, but I'm just going to lay it. And so this banner is just kind of centered. between our happy birthday and our cupcake. And the cupcake gets mounted flat. I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal. I'll finish my sentence. Get back in there. Cute card, quick. Take all those pieces and make this card. You could mass produce this one pretty quickly, probably. And this just gets kind of mounted in the middle. Maybe a little more towards the top. And then we're going to embellish it with our pastel adhesive back sequins. And I'm going to do it in these bluish ones. Where's my, it's not a U-Picket tool, but you know what? I think I'm going to use a big one. So why don't we put one there, and we'll put a little one up by the cupcake. There needs to be a third one. Let's put it down here. So your eye is drawn in that triangle shape. We talked about that before. And then on the inside, there's the piece of Coordinating Designer Series paper that you can add. And I don't think I provided a sentiment for the inside of this one. You can stamp it with anything that you have. This is a really cute, I mean, I'm sure an adult woman would like this one too. It just kind of makes me think of a little girl, because I always think of the pastel pinks, and everybody likes cupcakes. So let's see if my sample card, it did not have a sentiment on the inside of it, but that's open to interpretation. You can do whatever you would like. So that was what I wanted to show you today. A real quick card using the circle sayings. And I will post the list of supplies. And thanks for watching.